Today on Joe's Geek Show, we're going to be looking at Nocterra, issue number 1. What's going on, and welcome to Joe's Geek Show, the video series where we talk comics. And if you're new and like to support the channel, you can do so by liking this video, clicking that subscribe button, and sharing. And with that, Scott Snyder's brand new book, Nocterra, issue number 1. Written by Scott Snyder with art by Tony S. Daniel, colors by Tomu Murray, and letters by And World Design. So, Nocterra is a dystopian future tale that begins with a narration by our protagonist Val, telling her story about how she was in an orphanage with cataracts in her eyes, making her legally blind, until she was adopted by a family who was able to pay for the surgery, giving her full sight. Val and her adopted brother Emery are then picked up from school by their parents, and while driving, are suddenly met with a complete blackout at what is known as 13 p.m. The book then picks up several years later, where Val is now a trucker known as a ferryman, which is a person who transports passengers between different safe havens. Because as we quickly find out, this new world is full of creatures that were mutated from others, like birds and even humans, as it's explained that those trapped in the dark for too long contract this mutation. After an attack from these creatures, Val gets her passengers to the designated Outpost 41 and goes to collect her payment, quickly requesting another job, but being denied. Val is then approached by two of her previous passengers, who ask that she takes them north of the divide, with the man showing her a sunburn alluding to an area where the darkness may not have taken hold. She disregards the request and heads home to her brother Emery, who, after sneaking out of the outpost sometime prior to this issue, is revealed to have been infected, thus propelling Val to change her mind and agree to drive the two passengers to their requested location, with Val's internal monologue stating that if she'd known how bad things were going to get, that she never would have stepped on the gas. The book ends with a man covered in complete black requesting information on Val's truck for tracking, and we see the black suit is not just for show, as he burns a man's face and tells everyone that the man on Val's truck is responsible for the darkness itself. And I would say it's a decent first issue, because Scott Snyder actually does some good world building here. He not only introduces us to the characters, but the world that the characters inhabit, how the characters have had to learn to live within this brand new world consumed by darkness and these creatures, as well as how these creatures are made, and then of course the stages that lead up to one's transformation. I'm especially interested in the human creatures because, as Val describes in the book, that unlike the typical animals that turn once a human turns, they actually maintain some semblance of intelligence and are able to breed and essentially have their own society. And I have no doubt that at some point we're gonna get to see how they work. As far as protagonists go, I think Val is a very good character. I enjoyed her history with how she used to be in an orphanage, she was near blind until a family adopted her and gave her the surgery, and poof, hey, now she can see just fine. But then of course, sometime later, she is just thrusted back into a world of perpetual darkness, with this one being far more dangerous. And all the elements of this story make this seem like a mashup between the 2002 movie Darkness starring Anna Paquin and the 2005 Alone in the Dark movie, with this book having the atmosphere of darkness but the monsters of Alone in the Dark. But while I can say that this book is fun, it definitely didn't blow my socks off either. Because as someone who likes 90s monster movie schlock, I did find myself gravitating more towards the monster stuff versus when Val enters the town, where the book's pace definitely slows down, provides some very good information, of course. But I'll be honest, I want to see more monsters. Because I will say, normally with a Scott Snyder book, I usually get a little bit more of excitement and adrenaline rush, which I did get a little bit when it came to the monsters attacking the truck towards the beginning, but then that scene quickly ends. But I will say, Tony S. Daniel's artwork is on point in this book. I do like the look of the world, the characters, and the creatures, as well as colors with the playing of light and dark in very interesting ways. And since light is the only thing that can actually hurt these creatures, I do look forward to seeing how our protagonist does indeed deal with these creatures on the road, as I'm guessing resources are going to become less and less with each and every issue, and the threat, of course, growing bigger and bigger and bigger, which I think leaves the book open to a lot of creative opportunities. I especially really dig the panel where Val is actually fighting one of the monsters and she lights up the two flares. It's got a very cinematic look, and I dug it. But then of course there's also a ton of questions that this book opens up, like who is the guy in the black suit? When is Val going to learn that her passenger seemingly created this dark world? Is there really an area left where the darkness has not touched it? All these answers and more will be revealed someday. But for now, we have a fairly interesting story, albeit a little slow for me at times, but good characters, decent art, and leave me with enough where I want to come back for issue number 2. That I'm going to give Nocterra issue number 1 an 8 out of 10. So Nocterra issue number 1, what did you think about this book if you've read it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. And if you like this video, I'd love it if you'd smash that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos. Alright, take care, have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.